Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Elias Dell and thank you for checking out this video and welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 5 things that I think you should get yourself or someone you know who plays Yu-Gi-Oh! If they don't have it already. So a little bit of background, I have originally been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I think 2008, and I went until about 2010, and I was a lot younger then, and I stopped playing, and I recently got back into it a couple of months ago. And it is a very different game from what I was used to. So upon getting back into it, playing with other locals and friends and family, and YouTube, I guess, I've actually learned a couple of things that I would recommend to get if you have nothing and you're kind of starting from scratch, or if you just come back like me after a couple of years and want to get started. So, alright, now real quick before we do get into the 5 things in this video, I will leave links in the description box below for anything I'm pretty much talking about. So if you want to click on those links and buy some things, it would help me out just a little bit with that commission link or whatever, but I'd appreciate it either way. So let's go and get into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about is card sleeves. Now, I'm kind of making this video for people who are brand new, so if you just want to skip everything, click the links in the description below and you'll see what we're dealing with. So the first thing I want to talk about is card sleeves. Basically, these are your Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. These are the sleeves that I personally use. They're called Dragon Shield, and I use the Japanese size, which are a little smaller and a little bit of a tighter fit. Basically, when you're playing, you're going everywhere and you want to keep them protected, whether you're playing at a local store or you're traveling or really anything at all. So a sleeve, all it does is you slide it in there. 1, it changes the color of it, obviously. But 2, it offers a layer of protection. That way your cards will stay safe for a longer period of time, and worst case, if you are playing and you're drinking something and you get a little bit of water on it, hopefully it will hit the card sleeve and not the card itself, especially if it is a very expensive card. Now, there are many different types of sleeves you could go with, different brands, different colors, different artwork, different materials. Currently, my preferred sleeve to go to is going to be this Dragon Shield one. Now, this is the Japanese size one, which is a little thinner. It's a bit of a tighter fit on the cards. It allows you to double sleeve it if you're using a regular size as a backup. I found that these ones, they're a little nicer fit, I personally think, and they feel really, really good on the hands. It's kind of hard to describe the difference in card sleeves, but they're not all made the same. But at the end of the day, I would argue that any sleeve is better than no sleeve. It's just my personal preference are the Dragon Shields. Now, when you're getting into it, you don't want to go too crazy because these sleeves can get expensive quick, especially if you're trying to sleeve up every single card you own. This box right here, I believe, runs about $11. And you get 60, so it's about a deck size. So depending how many cards you have, that could fluctuate. So I would recommend to start small, maybe pick a color of a brand you want to try. If you like it, invest more. But if if you bought $100 worth of sleeves and you didn't like the color or the feel or the style or whatever, that's a lot of money that you're probably not going to be able to get back. So once you get into the game a little bit more and you determine what kind of sleeves you like, what style, what color, what brand, whatever, and you have invested a little bit into your cards, I would recommend for some of the more expensive cards, whether you're playing them or just collecting them, to double sleeve them. Now, that comes in a play of a different couple factors. For example, you can't double sleeve 2 Japanese size sleeves on each other. It just won't fit. Same thing can be said for regular size sleeves. You have to have 2 different size sleeves so that one can fit inside the other. What I've done for a couple more of my expensive cards is actually going to be first do a Japanese size sleeve on it and then put into a regular size sleeve. So it's double sleeved up. That way it just offers a little more protection for them. The only downside to that is 1, the work. Well, 2 things. 1, the amount of work that goes into it, and 2, the double sleeving will expand the size of the deck. So if your single sleeves is maybe this thick, the double sleeve might be that thick. So it's just something to keep in mind. But that should be it for the sleeves. Alright, so now that you have sleeves for your cards, you need somewhere to put them. I would never recommend to use a rubber band or any kind of, I guess, rubber band to hold your cards together and keep them in place, or your pocket's not a good place, your backpack, some kind of a bag randomly. None of that's really a good idea because, 1, you're going to probably lose some, you're going to cause damage by bending them and cracking them and probably cutting them up and stuff. So this is where a deck box or some kind of a box comes into play. I primarily use 2 types, not out of any particular reason, just what I'm currently offering right now. The first type is going to be the Ultra Pro one. I got a pack of 5 for I think $10, and you know they're not the greatest. They're made out of like cheap plastic, and they sometimes get caught on themselves. But for all intents and purposes, it works. It functions. It keeps them organized in one place. You know, I rarely have my cards around water, so it's unlikely that that'll happen. But if you were to drop some water on it or in the rain or something, you know, the chances of the water getting inside the box it's less likely. But those are cheap and effective. They get the job done. My main deck, I'm actually using this one, and again, I don't remember the names of them, but they'll all be linked in the description box below. This one's real nice because it's a nice, I guess like pleather or some kind of better material on it. It also has a magnetic strip, so when you close it, it just magnetizes and closes for shirt. It opens up real nice. You got little fabric in the middle of it, and that's kind of where I'm keeping in there. Again, sleeved cards. Now this one is a little bit wider, so you can actually have a little more room for cards, accessories, and other stuff that we'll get into here in just a minute. Again, it's a little bigger, so depending on how you're carrying your cards and stuff around, that may play a factor into your decision. Alright, now moving on to the third thing I would recommend. Now you got your sleeves for your cards and your deck boxes to put those sleeved cards into. The next thing I'd recommend to get is a playmat. Really, it could be any piece of fabric or cloth or anything. This is my personal one that I'm using now. I actually got it from a TSX1 website. I'll leave a link there because it's actually my favorite designed one so far. It might not be the highest quality, but you know, it gets the job done. Basically, you just want something to sit on a table or a countertop where you'll be dueling and playing. That way your sleeves are protected. It plays a couple of benefits. One is protecting your sleeves, which protects your cards, which ultimately will protect your cards further. The second thing is this particular one, I like them when they have these zones laid out. Now, they're not labeled, but obviously I know which ones are which. I think it just helps keep a organized game field, and lets your opponents and yourself know exactly what cards are where and what position, etc. I think something like that, it could be very beneficial. If you have a local card store near you, most of the ones that I've been to at least will have dedicated stations that have playmats already in place, but I've seen people place their playmats on top of those and just go on from there. I think the most beneficial and practical use I've seen for them, other than organization, is one time I went to a store and the table I was playing on had like dried soda or sticky substance or some kind, and you know, if I would have put my sleeve or my not sleeve card on there, I could have damaged one of the two. And the mats are usually one of the cheaper things to purchase in terms of the accessory list. So definitely get a mat if you plan on playing anywhere other than your kitchen. Alright, number 4 on the list is going to be a pair of dice, if you will. I would recommend to have 2 if you can in your deck box, if you have the room for it, or in your bag, whatever you carry around. The reason for that is one of two. A lot of the players like to roll the dice to determine who goes first, so there's that factor. The second reason is there's a couple of cards in the game that use the term counters, and I found that, especially if you're using more than one counter card, to having a dice to determine the number of counters on it really comes in handy. That way you don't have to remember it or write it down on a piece of paper or anything like that. It helps you and your opponent know exactly how many counters are on each card, so it's really helpful there. Alright, and last but not least is going to be a external storage solution other than a deck box. So you have your cards, they're sleeved up, your sleeved cards are in a box. When you're playing, it's on a mat, and then your dice are there too. But over the course of playing the game and collecting and learning different strategies and card types, you're probably going to accumulate a lot of cards. And instead of just having them laid out in a box so that it could get damaged and you have to search through it every single time and they're not organized, I would recommend to get some kind of a binder. This one, I mean, this is the only one I really have. I like it. I will say, when I started, I did use one of these. I don't recommend these anymore. Yes, they can hold more cards, but they're more of a hassle and less protective in the event of some kind of rain or water or whatever, for that matter. This one I like. Again, it's the only one I've actually really had, but it zips up. It's relatively protective against any kind of elements. This is also opens, see if I can show you, opens from the side as opposed to the top. So on this one, they're pretty tight, so even if I shake them, they're not falling out. On my older one, if I flip it upside down, there's a good chance most, if not all of them, will just fall out and completely ruin them. This one is also double-sided, so you get to see multiple layers. This was a 3x3, which I think gets me, I want to say 100, maybe 100 cards in here. For the most part, I keep most of my more valuable cards in here. That way, if anyone wants to do trades at locals, or if I'm trying to build a new deck, I can find them quickly and, you know, either build it using those cards, or if I'm trying to use them to trade or sell or whatever, it just makes it easier, and also keeps them more protected than just having them in a box. So that's pretty nice. Let's see here. Now, the very last thing I wanted to talk about is actually going to be a free service that you can actually download on your phones. It's called Neuron, I believe, Neuron app. On that app, it'll actually track your life points for duels. It'll actually have a dice selection on there, but it's not a physical one, so it helps with rolling the dice for going first or second, but it doesn't really help out with counters. But there's a lot of benefits and tools to that app. I actually use it for most, if not every single one of my duels, and it's been pretty helpful. So again, links for everything I've discussed is going to be in the description box below. If you want to check anything out, you know, click the link and explore. And if you buy anything, it does help me out a little bit supporting the channel, which I do appreciate. Again, at no additional cost to you. If you liked the video, please leave me a like and a comment down below. Let me know, you know, how'd I do? Is there anything you would recommend to yourself or anyone else getting back into the game? Are there any particular brands you like? Let's have a discussion in the comments below. And that's going to be it from me. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time, I'll see you.